Okay, I'm just gonna be transparent here. This was supposed to be a Halloween video, and it's now December 5th. But you know what? At least I made the video, so partial credit. Which I just realized also means as soon as I finish this video, I have to get to work on a Christmas game. So if you have any ideas for a terrible Christmas game, please let me know in the comments.
I joined my first game jam this week and I was super excited about it. The game jam I joined was the 2024 Screen Jam, and basically the way it works is you had 7 days to create a horror game. Understanding that I am a beginner when it comes to game development, I aim to start really small. Like, really small. The idea was to create a text-based story where you battle the main character's impulsive thoughts. To be 100% honest, I did spend the first 2 days of the game jam kind of procrastinating because I didn't really know where to start. But then I wrote down a plan of the essentials of this game, and I realized the most important feature of this game would be a dialogue manager. So I started working on that. I now have 1 day and 13 hours left, and that dialogue manager still does not work at all. I've realized after days of research that it's really easy to create a really simple dialogue manager for Unity, but when it comes to making a really complex dialogue manager for what I would need for this game, it's really hard, and there is not a lot of resources out there, at least that I can find. Considering I only have 37 hours left and I've really never completed a complete game before, I was about to give up on this game jam and just try another one. I have a habit of starting game jams only to chicken out or crumble under depression, and I decided, you know what, this time I'm going to actually submit a game. And basically, after 20 minutes of frantically scrambling to try to come up with a backup idea, I thought of the Immortal Snail meme.
I thought I'd do a quick explanation since this meme is 10 years old, which, great sign for my game that it's based off a 10-year-old meme. So the Immortal Snail is a scenario where you and a super intelligent snail both get $1 million, and you both become immortal. However, you die if the snail touches you. It always knows where you are, and it slowly crawls towards you. What's the plan? Now, obviously, the best solution is to trap the snail in cement and then use the $1 million to launch him into orbit, but that's beside the point. Like the snail, this meme will be completely irrelevant in the shadows for long periods of times before re-emerging when you least expect it. It's a fun thought experiment, I guess. I used as an opener on Tinder once, and the girl blocked me, but her loss.
I mean, how hard can it possibly be to create a horror game where you're chased by an immortal snail? In the next 37 hours, that's exactly what I aim to find out.
As a general rule in life, I have to stop saying, how hard could it possibly be? Every time I say that phrase, it's always insanely hard. Anyway, I started this off by creating this pixel art guy to be the player. He honestly looks like he just got off his Wall Street job and he's absolutely hammered. It's terrible, I know it's terrible, but I really couldn't spend too much time on art, and let's just face it, I'm a terrible artist. Genuinely, I could have spent a week on this sprite and it would still look like absolute garbage. At least I drew a dollar though, because a big part of this prompt is that you get $1 million. It's not just the eternal life. At this point, I had no idea how, but I knew I wanted to incorporate money into this game somehow. So, player movement for this project was actually pretty simple. I pretty much just grabbed some code from another project, and yeah, the walking animations. I want to include animations, but yeah, they're something to behold. So, next, I need to create the main character of this whole operation, the Immortal Snail. I wrote up some quick code for him to chase the player, and ta-da! And at this point, I was definitely happy to have something working. It's really basic. Honestly, in some of my earlier videos, I would have counted this as a completed game. This is not a completed game. I had to put a lot more work into this, but it was a good start, considering. For reference, in the beginning of this video, when I said I got nowhere with the first game I tried to make, this is the first game I tried to make. I genuinely got nowhere. When I say I'm a beginner, I am genuinely a beginner. Now, the next thing I had to address was actually making the player die when the snail caught up to them. That honestly came with a few more issues than I anticipated there would be. I did get the text to pop up pretty quickly, but you could still move the player, so it wasn't really working at all. Also, I'm a writer, and I do eventually want to tell stories through my games. As a result, I feel like I was trying a little too hard with these death texts. It's a little cringe, but this whole game is cringe, so whatever. After I figured out how to get the player to stop moving when they died, I made this sprite, and to be honest, I'm really proud of it. Don't ask me how a snail touching you decapitates you, it just does. So I imported my death screen into the project, and for the most part, my death screen worked after that, and I was yeah, it didn't work. I could still go back and forth, so I had to figure out why that was happening. To be honest, this really was a pretty easy fix. I just had to switch some if statements around and fix some sloppy ass code, and voila! After creeping in the shadows, death has finally claimed you, as it always does. You had a good run, but not even you could outrun the inevitable. Oh, that's genuinely so cringe. Lastly, I added a restart button because in my last video, people were pointing out that's an essential part of the game. But to that, I say, you know what? Don't lose. Don't lose, you don't need one. You're running from a snail. You deserve to restart the application if you lose.
Now that I have a game working, there's really only one thing that I need to fix. The game sucks. And that's not me making fun of my lack of art ability or anything like that. The main problem with this game is it's not fun to play at all. While it does kind of work as a horror mechanic, running away from a snail does not work as a game mechanic at all. Literally, all you have to do is run around in a big circle and it's impossible to lose the game. And I guess I could get really deep and say, hey, that's the purpose of the game. You know, some message like an eternal life is a boring life, and at some point you're gonna crave the death that the snail brings. And you know what? Speaking it out loud, I'm starting to think, hey, maybe there is a message out there. But nah, that's no fun. I need to brainstorm some ways to make running away from a snail more interesting.
After some half-assed brainstorming, I think I came up with a great way to make this game more interesting. But first, I had to add some other features. So I added a score system and money. There's no way to spend the money yet, but we'll get there eventually. I also used my amazing artistic abilities to create a little gameplay area. The reason there's an ocean there was I was kind of planning on having a feature where you could buy a bucket and then trap the snail in the bucket and throw him in the ocean, but I couldn't figure that out, so I scrapped that. Also, like, the gameplay already sucks, but it would not be good for gameplay if you can get rid of the enemy for prolonged periods of time. Anyway, I felt like the game needed death noise, so I gave voice acting a try. Ah! Nailed it. Next, this game needed music, and the song that plays in all the memes is Happy Christmas by John Lennon. Now, you don't want to steal any music, so I thought I'd make my own terrible version on Bosca Seol, and I think it's bad enough where this is technically not really the same song. To the estate of John Lennon. Please don't sue me. Now that I think of it though, this is a Christmas audio, and this meme does become popular around Christmas, so I could use this as my Christmas video. But no, I promised I'd make a Christmas game, so if you have any bad ideas for a Christmas game, please comment them below. Back to our Immortal Snail, with this new audio, this game was really coming together. Well, sort of. See for yourself. Ah!
So at this point, there are 8 hours and 46 minutes left in the screen jam, and I'm trying to figure out what would be the best way to spend that time. To be honest, I am weighing the option of taking a nap because I did pull an all-nighter last night to get some features done, and while I did get some stuff done, I am getting pretty tired. My brain is slowly but surely going into shutdown mode. I really can't nap for too long though, because I am a rookie game developer, and any features I want to add from here are going to take me some time.
Seriously, just adding a simple happiness bar to this game took me 2.5 hours.
Like, I'm getting to a level of tired that I'm actually starting to worry about a snail coming to get me.
I'm not proud of it, but there were at least 2 occasions while making this game where I did go outside my room to check to make sure no snail was waiting for me. I might have to bring that up in therapy. I don't think that's normal.
When I'm done napping, I really want to work on adding features where you can use the player's money that they start with, since you start with $1 million, and also have those features incorporate into the happiness bar.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, when I try to brainstorm what would be good items to add to the game to add to happiness, the only thing I could think of was drugs. Yeah, in hindsight, I could have added like food or love or something, but I chose drugs. I kinda like the sprite though, so I'll give myself some credit.
Yeah, I won't lie. At this point, I feel like the only scary part of this game is the fact that I thought of it. It's certainly a game, though.
So I added the little drug stand to the game and the happiness bar, and the idea I kinda came up for this was as the game goes on, if you don't have happiness, your health bar will go down. I didn't do it right there, it wasn't working yet, but that was the idea. Like, as your happiness goes down, you walk slower. So, like, it's almost as if you want the snail to come. I know, right? It's pretty deep. Yeah, I explained that pretty terribly, but the idea was for the final game is you have gambling and you have betting. And those are the 2 ways to bring your happiness up. You can win bets or you can lose bets. But either way, you improve your happiness. It's just the action of betting. Added some sound effects to that too. And you go back and forth between the two. And there are also some like different features, so like you don't want to run out of money, like so the only way to get more money is betting. And then there's also features like the drugs can either offer you really big happiness or you can black out. And the blackouts are really dangerous because you can't see where the snail is. So I thought that was a really fun element. Also, like as you become more depressed, you walk slower, makes it easier for the snail to get you. I think it was still a little too easy to play the game, but I think it was pretty good this way. And yeah, you can just go back and forth betting and gambling until you don't want to play anymore, and you slowly wish the snail will just come get you. The darkness of the life. The inevitability. Yeah, I have a woohoo voice acting. I feel like the voice acting actually wasn't that bad. It's bad, but I feel like it's kinda good, sort of. Maybe I'm giving myself too much credit here. But yeah, that's the game I created for this game jam. This is really the most completest game I've ever created on my own. I'm pretty proud of it, to be honest. It's not perfect. Obviously, there are a lot of flaws. I think you actually get stuck on the wall sometimes, but yeah, it works. I'm still working out the kinks, but I'm pretty happy with it. I ended up submitting this like 10 minutes before the deadline. I just kept on playing with it, and then I was looking at it at the end, and I realized the formatting was kind of messed up for the web browser, but I was able to fix it and get it in on time.
I didn't get all the features I would have liked to get running, but I have enough where I'm pretty proud of this game, especially considering that I only had really less than 2 days to do it. I look like a complete mess, so I'm gonna go take a shower to avoid perpetuating any game dev stereotypes. Although I guess I already did that when I didn't shower for the 37 hours while I worked on this project. Now that I think about it, that's pretty disgusting. Anyway, I'm gonna go clean up, and when I'm done, this game jam should be over, meaning I should be able to play some of the other entries. My ultimate goal for this first game jam is not to fall in last place. Yes, this game is a complete mess, but I really hope some people still enjoy it.
I just want to say, after finishing my game, I went through a bunch of the other entries, and so many of them were genuinely incredible. Like, I was so impressed with what people were able to do in 1 week. As for my game, 8 people rated it, and it ended up nowhere near last place, which completely made my day. It ended up nowhere near first place either, but that was pretty expected to be honest. I'm genuinely so glad that people actually took the time to write comments on my game, and I'm glad they enjoyed the humor. I'm also really happy they liked the voice acting, because now I can say I'm an experienced voice actor. I also appreciate the criticism, and the main criticism of this game was that it was boring, so I'm definitely going to look to work on that in my next game. But let me know what you think about the game. I left the link in the description. If you're still here, thank you so much for watching this video. If you haven't already, please be sure to like and subscribe to my channel. For my next video, I will be making a Christmas game, and I promise it will be out before Christmas Eve. So if you have any ideas for a bad Christmas game, or maybe a good Christmas game, please let me know in the comments. Have a great day!